That was mean of me, but fuck y'all.
I started Sarah on Naruto.
You have her watching American dubs?
Oh. What did you think?
Well, the first season, yeah.
Really?
That's how I watched the first season.
Really?
Mitch, you act like Toonami wasn't a thing, and I'm tired of it.
First off, I would never. Because if it wasn't for Toonami, I wouldn't have been able to begin my path onto the truth, which is subs over everything, Logan.
There's no subs on Toonami.
I have an issue with that, Mitchell. I would just like to say I have an issue with that elitism a little bit. Not because I disagree, because I do genuinely think subs are better in the sense that you get more of the story. But here's the thing. Not everybody... I meant dubs. Sorry. Dubs are better because you get more of the story because it sounds... I meant
you're
dubs.
right. No, you're right. You're right. You have it right. You have it the right way. Subs do give more to story.
I'm actually defending subs, but I was trying to Okay. Let me start again because that was just a mess.
I'm not like
so dubs are better story-wise because they do help you understand the story as it was made. You know, it's exactly like on point. But subs are important because there are a lot of people who can't read and watch a movie or a TV show at the same time. They can't.
Claire, you just got those back. You just got those backwards again.
She didn't. No, she's good.
Because she said subs are important because people don't like to read all the time, but that's what you have to do in subs. I think she meant to reverse it. Dubs are important because people like Logan don't read.
What she means the ones with the ready bit and the ones with the talky bit. Okay.
No, but what she was saying is that. So I think what she meant
the ready
was,
ones.
Yeah,
the wordy ones are the ones that are technically better because you get more of the story.
Exactly.
But the hairy ones are important because there are people.
Dumbass. Go read a book, nigga.
There are genuine people who can't. No, they can read. They just can't read and watch the story at the same time. And a lot of anime specifically is a facial expression, context of what's going on around them. Especially Naruto too. Fuck. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. I did an accidental Naruto this morning. You'll appreciate this since you just recently watched it.
How so?
I saw milk in the fridge and I was like,
oh no.
I was like, you know what? I'm tough. I can do it. and I drank it. And that may or may not be why I'm sick this morning.
Are you all right? You poor girl.
And then Ben was like, at least you don't have fucking Sasuke tying you to a tree. And I was like, oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, right. I mean, he had that coming, though. He got the drop on him first.
I know. Because,
Sasuke was tight. Sasuke was like, yo, where the fuck is Naruto now? But then he told off Sakura, and that episode made me happy. When Sakura was like, yeah, Naruto, he didn't have any parents. And Sasuke was like,
shut up,
you inconsiderate bitch ass bitch. And I was like, oh, he said you had no nipples. But no, I'm not actually elitist about it. The reason I do watch subs is because I'm getting into the habit of not whitewashing things. And so if I was watching a telenovela, I would watch it in Espanol and I just deal. Also, I think it kind of helps you get more comfortable with the language. If I was going to go learn Japanese, there's already a whole bunch of words I know. It's just learning grammar that I'd want to figure out, That's why I like subs. But I like watching art in terms of the way it was originally created, because just like with the telephone game, as you translate things, some shit gets lost. Certain words and dubs. And now realize, Logan, we didn't just get dubs. This is the problem people have with One Piece. So
that's what I was saying.
What?
Before. About when I was on the messenger about the Pokemon rap and stuff, and how in Pokemon they had donuts when it was rice balls.
Yeah.
Right. And they called it that. But I was going to say one thing because here we didn't just get dubs, which is the direct translation. We got PG dubs as well. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things in anime that America was like, you can't have a little girl in this fucking skirt. Why is this nigga Sanji smoking a cigarette? Kids can't be watching motherfuckers smoke cigarettes, and he got a lollipop instead. You remember that?
Yeah.
That happens in American dubs often, and I didn't learn that, which is why I don't hate Toonami, Logan. I can't never. That's too close to my heart. We just didn't know better, and Toonami should have known better, but I'll talk to them about it.
People always go on about, no offense, okay, what I'm about to say is a little insulting, but I don't mean it. This is
no offense, guys, before I full on fucking offend you, bitches.
Well, I'm not offending you, I'm just repeating what someone said. People say Americans are dumb and American TV shows dumb down Americans all the time, right? But here's the thing, you kind of do, and it's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair to you guys, and it's not false because I got Japanese stuff. Like I saw this and I saw the Sanji with a lollipop, but that's only because Ben showed it to me on like a phone. But like we didn't get that shit over here. Like no one tried to dumb us down or like protect us. Like we see baby butts all the time. Like your peoples, like your adults were actually really rude to you. And if you are dumbed down, it's because they had so little faith in you that you couldn't cope with very, very minute adult concepts.
Absolutely. I think you thought I said I said false. I wasn't saying false. I was saying facts. Like, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said false.
No,
that's not false. That's exactly
that's exactly what happens with it's like Shaman King, for instance, is another popular like American like dub that was specifically on like a TV program that was meant for kids. But Shaman King has a lot of like adult spiritual content. But America doesn't like Americans getting into content like that. The thing about Japanese anime, it is very true to their culture. It also looks at other cultures and does the best that it can to translate what they were thinking, no matter what it is. But when you get to America and they see some of those concepts, it's the same reason in the 60s. They're like, don't smoke marijuana because it makes you think. Japanese anime, like, shit'll make you... I mean, more reasons to that because, like, hemp's a thing. Psychedelics, you laugh. You laugh.
They do use psychedelics.
Psychedelics and marijuana, those are drugs that are known for increasing consciousness, and Americans specifically don't like that. It makes you think.
It is actually. He's not wrong, Logan, because they did do trials in the 60s with marijuana and LSD on innocent people. You ever seen Stranger Things? On innocent people.
I've heard that for LSD, not necessarily.
No, marijuana was as well.
It was the same thing,
because it was a strain.
No, I've heard the experiment done, yeah.
Yeah, but there was also an experiment with marijuana where they actually took the strain of weed that, like, they took out basically the good part that gets you high, and they used the part that actually does empower brain power. Like, it does speed up brain power and stuff. Like, they have sort of torn weed apart and just experimented with it a little bit.
Do that. But the other reason that marijuana got like blackballed and we have cigarettes and stuff is because marijuana itself, cannabis, the flower, is also connected to hemp. And the thing about hemp is you can do anything with it. It grows anywhere. You can make clothes out of it. We're finding out you can make construction blocks out of it. You can literally do anything that you can use it for, like cotton and paper. And the biggest industries in the time are like, oh, well, we doing tobacco over here and we doing paper from trees over here. What you got with this hemp over here? Nah, we can't do this hemp over here. All right, we're going to use our money to... No, that's a literal thing. That's like factual history. Big businesses were like, no to hemp. And therefore, no to cannabis because they're basically connected. That's a thing.
Well, the propaganda too. Like, fucking hell, I can't believe what my parents fucking believed. Like, there was this thing I saw, like, I was talking to someone, like, older person about this sort of stuff the other day, and they were just spewing, like, they were saying it like a fact, but it just sounded like it came off a commercial. And I was just like, And, like, that's the thing with hemp, though, too. Like, everyone was, like, my family, like, my parents' generation was like, it's dirty, it's hippie shit, like, blah, 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 it's gross.
You can't even get high.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Please continue.
No, it's all good. No, I agree. Anyway, we probably should stop talking.
Fuck Logan. We'll talk as much as we want, Claire.
Anyway.
Logan's face like, okay, well, damn. I didn't even say shit.
He's like, well, I'm going to listen to Claire, not you, so fuck you.
If you're just tuning in, the Toasties have tired themselves out.
Says you.
No, you guys just kind of like burnt out just then. It was weird. I'm your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast. I'm here with my two best friends. Say hi to the people, Mitch.
Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho.
Okay, well, you know, at least it wasn't offensive that time. Say hi to the people, Claire.
Hi, guys.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah.
It's been like, it hasn't been a bad week, but like, you know, it's been a week.
As always, the Toasties are doing horrible. Tell them where they can find us, Claire.
Hey, I'm not always doing horrible. You just don't see it.
Exactly.
Anywho.
You just don't see when I'm doing good.
You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for live premieres to chat with us and other fans of the show. Email us your suggestions for the show or any other inquiries, etc. you might have to themilkandtoast@gmail.com. And remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and check out our Reddit and Discord.
Oh,
that's it.
Ooh, that was smooth. That was so smooth. I didn't even know it was done. It was done real quick too. Major thing she said there. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube. But really, do it because my old man grunts as I move.
Sorry, guys. Wanted to make sure I didn't leave the stove on.
Facts. You know, that's
makes me
wait,
hungry.
let me get this point over with. Please go subscribe to our YouTube because we're gonna be doing live streams on YouTube. You won't be able to see us, but we'll be there for the chats as always. So we'll be going through the episode. We'll hear the episode with you. It's kind of like a watch party for our episodes. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And also, like, invite your friends, and then we can all talk about things that are going on in the show, topics, debate about them, say I'm dumb when I'm talking, whatever you want, you know.
Can you hear my butterfly?
Okay.
Yeah?
This podcast is so chaotic. I was thinking about how
road.
chaotic it was. Like, we'll always like have like 3 conversations going on at one time, and that's just horrible etiquette. But like, that's something that happens, and then like just now, Claire's like flicking her eyelashes on the microphone, being like, "Can you hear my butterfly kisses?" I'm just like,
Yes.
I wasn't talking to you.
Everybody else is amateurs. We should be able to hold down 5
else.
conversations amongst the 3 of us at the same time. I'm
If you're
ashamed of
listening
us.
right now, they're for you. They're not for Logan. Fuck Logan.
Wait, I don't get any butterfly kisses?
That's fine. You can have some too.
anyways.
It's just wanted to beat out Logan on that one. I just couldn't be in the same
No, you
place.
did. That's why I was like, fine.
You guys want to talk about
I am
some
also
dark
mad
shit?
at the Logan.
You guys want to talk
Dark
about some
shit.
dark shit?
How dark
Yeah, I
you
got
trying
some
to get?
pretty intense topics this
I
week.
could summon
Yeah.
a demon right
Probably
now.
good
Say
we started
word.
off with butterfly kisses, eh?
Read both the lesser and greater keys of Solomon. What you need.
It's true.
Mitch, you wanted to talk about
Mike is not
navigating your dark emotions and shit. Apparently, you feel like, you know.
Well, I didn't say
dark-
my emotions, although I was willing to share. I was just going to talk about navigating dark emotions. We have some topics, you know, and I feel it's about time we brought it up because, you know, Claire has a topic today with a woman who did something, who went to a very, very dark place. We've all probably been there when we've
That's
wanted to
true.
do some dark shit. I mean, Claire
I
slammed the
don't
bitch's
know,
head
we-
against the printer. Like, I mean, no remorse. Listen, Claire, you don't got to defend
Mate.
yourself. Like, it's how you
First
navigate
of all,
sometimes.
I have done worse stuff than that, and second
Oh,
of all,
you
I've
see what
done
I'm saying?
less worse stuff
Can
than that.
we
Like that
not,
is such
like-
a mid-tier point in my entire life. Like I don't know why you always bring it up.
Because it just makes
It's
me laugh
shocking.
whenever I have the
And
opportunity.
that's why I forgot all about it until I met you.
Until I always bring it up. And I'm like, yo, what you did? And then Claire was like, yo, there was this bitch whose face
Yeah.
had to meet a printer one day. But on a serious
That
note,
happened.
I just brought it up because we're always like, we as people, and I don't mean just us on the cast, I mean like in society, like
Chill,
people
Mike.
do horrible,
What's
fucked
up
up
with
shit. And it's like, oh my God, people aren't supposed to do horrible, fucked up shit.
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh.
like, well, we all kind of have that shit going on in us. It's just, how do we deal with that shit? Like, all of us here suffer from mental illness and, you know, a degree or not. You know, I'm trying to get therapy, managing plans. Claire has been going through a lot most of her life. You yourself, I don't know if you're trying to get help or whatever, Logan, but you yourself know you have mental issues to deal with. And it's like,
Sorry, I just like
I know,
how
right. I hate because this is actually the last time. Mitch always like makes
we
me
all
seem
know
worse.
Logan's fucked up. Like,
And I didn't mean to make it sound like that. It's just that's what you've been telling me. But you know, I just, as I'm going through things, I figured it's something to like bring up because there are times we get into dark spaces. People, and this is in general, and I don't want to say everybody. Let me not say everyone because everybody's different. But you know, people navigate through their lives most of the time feeling good, and then other times we go into dark places, and it's like, where did that come from? And how do I want to proceed with that day? I've had suicidal thoughts for a very, very long time now. You know what I mean? Which isn't a healthy place to be. Thank God I haven't acted on those thoughts. And I hope neither of you ever have those thoughts and act on them. But when I'm thinking those things, my level of navigation is, whoa, or at least where I try to get, because they come so quick and it just feels like this flood, this overwhelming urge. And it's like, Mitchell, why are you even thinking this? Because you know it's not something you want to do, yet the thought's still there. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't for the fact that I am who I am and I was raised a particular way, and I know for a fact that I do want to be well, that could, you know, have horrible implications maybe, but I navigate those feelings. So when I'm feeling like, yo, like, what's the point? like everything's worthless. It seems like things are getting worse. No one actually cares enough. I have to stop for a moment and be like, okay, what's going on? First off, like, Mitch, are you serious? I try to find distractions if I can. Like, I have the safety plans, and Claire, I know we spoke about that on mine. You know, if I can distract myself with a game, if I can, you know, work out or something, if I could talk to a friend or something like that, it helps me kind of get out that space. And then from there, I got to proceed further. Like, why are you feeling like that? Which is what I did. What are the things you have to live for? And for me, I do have luck where that's like, oh, I'm sorry, Claire, what's up?
Oh, I was just going to say, just quickly, have you ever faced those thoughts head on? Like, because this is what I learned and did myself a little bit in my own personal experiences. Instead of finding a distraction, I went down that path of what would happen. Like, I know this sounds bad and it's morbid and it's dark, but it does have an outcome. It does have, like, you know what I mean? It's supposed to just make you think about everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I went down the path of like, all right, well then, you know, if I kill myself, then Ben's on his own and he's got this house and he's got the, like, you know what I mean? You just sort of make yourself think about what it would do to those around you, go down that path on how it would make you feel. Do you think it'd be any better? Do you believe in a religion? What are you expecting on the other side? Like, just sort of face those thoughts head on and be like, come at me. All right. Like, let's just do a thought experiment and let's just go down that path. What would not obviously touch anything or do anything or harm yourself.
I hear you.
And this is specifically advice for Mitchell, not anyone else. I'd like to clarify because I don't want anyone who is in a dark place going down that path and
I thought you were doing that to everybody.
No, I don't want to do that to everybody because I don't feel like anybody else should take that advice unless.
Right. Yeah, and plus, like, Claire isn't your therapist. Like,
right.
We're not. Nobody here is your actual therapist.
No, she knows me and wants
Mitchell
to ask.
Himself, with Mitchell, I could really see, because I know Mitchell well enough to be like, he's stubborn enough, and this isn't any bad negative thing, he's stubborn enough, he's spiritual enough, and he's emotional enough that if he took himself down that path, it would actually probably relieve a lot of that pressure of wanting to commit such an act, as well as give him a lot of perspective on his life as well. And I think it's really healthy for people in general, to reflect on things a lot and have some time to yourselves a lot and to just sort of sort through what's in your head. I'm a natural introvert, and I know Logan is as well, but I think extroverts, like, I have friends who are extroverts and they really struggle with what we do naturally, which is to just sit in a room and think. Not overthink, not think about what people said about us or anything like that, but just think about where we're going, what we're doing, how we're doing it, you know, and I think that is a way to navigate negative thoughts. Sometimes you just sort of got to fall into the negativity in a way and just process it. Just go through those boxes full of crap, you know. Your mind is an attic and you got to go through the boxes full of crap and pull out everything and have a look at it and get rid of what's not supposed to be there and what is supposed to be there. Something I really enjoy is meditative therapy, and that's something I do all the time, and it's something my mum actually taught me how to do. And basically in my space, I have a plot of land and I have a cottage on that land. And sometimes I'll go into a meditative space and go to that cottage and it will be filthy, which is a metaphor for how I'm feeling. Like, I'm feeling like the garden's overgrown. I'm feeling like the lawn. So in that space of mind, I go and I mow that lawn. I clean the gutters. I wipe down the walls. Like, I clean it. And then I feel better. And it's because it's like, it sounds stupid, but I actually do feel better. It's like, I don't know how to explain it any more than I already have.
No, well, it's a meditative exercise.
Yeah, it's a cleansing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about meditative therapy, but meditation I understand a lot. And the point of doing that, and I see the connection, the reason you're feeling better is because that is a part of the internal process. If on your internal you're seeing there's a mess, you begin to take the inward focus to clean it up. Like, of course you'd feel better. You kind of just elevated your mood. What you were saying earlier about, like, you know, doing internal stuff. So the next thing I was going to talk about, cause like, I'll try to like find distractions, but then I'll like think about how it would affect the people in my life. Well, that's kind of like my next like step. I'll be like, all right, so, cause there are people I care about who care about me. And it's like, the truth is, and it's not like any of them are being selfish. Like, if I was to tell them, be like, how could you do that to us? But, you know, I think about them in that way where it's like, I do care. and I see how my loss could affect people. I'm fake extrovert, Claire. I know that may come as a surprise to you, and I know you don't even believe me. It's because I'm really good at communicating.
I'm just confused.
I know, and there's ambiverts too. People who are like a little bit of both. I'm still kind of figuring it out. But when I was a kid growing up, you'd have to ask my like family who like knew me as I grew up. I was actually very quiet and shy. I said quiet. Anyway, I said quiet. Yeah, I said quiet. I said quiet and shy, which is the same. But it was actually kind of quiet and shy. But as I grew up and I got older, like there was things I just wanted to do. I have a strong will, is what I'll tell people. And that's kind of what it comes down to for me. So I do.
That's what I was talking about with your stubbornness too.
Oh, that I don't. You know, a lot of people say like having a strong will and being determined in things sometimes make you stubborn. I think it depends on the context.
I don't think stubborn is negative. Stubborn.
I kind of do, but it depends because depending on what you're being stubborn about, that's why I say that. Because if you're stubborn about, for instance, what if you needed to go to the hospital, right, really bad? And I'm not saying this is you or any of you guys, but what if someone's sitting there and like they need to go to the hospital really bad, and like everyone around them knows they need to go, and they're thinking to themselves, yeah, I could use the help, but they're just so stubborn in their ways, like, oh, I'll just brush it off. Like to me, that's a context of negative stubbornness. Now. If you believe in something, that's like different. If you're like, yo, you know, I don't want to cut down these trees, you know, like a sequoia, and you're like really, really positive about trees. And this big like company comes along and is like, yo, fuck your trees no matter what you do. And they're like, I'm going to fight to the last fucking breath. That's not being negatively stubborn to me. You're fighting for something you truly believe in and something that's a just cause, if you ask me, depending on the context. But in any case, like I will kind of try to think internally, like what's going on with me. And I'll think about how my life would kind of impact, or how the absence of my life would impact those around me. And that's kind of how like I navigate those thoughts. That's for me. I go to distractions though sometimes, Claire, because I'm not going to pretend like doing that all the time is exhausting to me. It's exhaustive. And sometimes I just want to stop thinking and stop being in tune with my emotions and just like zone out for a little bit, because like that process can take its toll. And so like sometimes, and it doesn't always happen in that order. It's not always like, oh, I'm feeling bad, distract myself, you know, go internal, see what's happening, hopefully come out on the other side better. Some days it could be like, I just wake up, I'm on the wrong side of the bed. What the fuck's going on? All right, I'll think about it a little bit. I'll think and I'll keep thinking. I'll stay in bed just thinking. And it's like, well, I need to get out of bed and go do something just to get myself up. But that's my process. So I was going to ask, where
do you feel like that mainly comes from though?
In terms, I mean,
like
I'd have to get into my illness. To be honest, my main thing. Oh, I think I described this to you. And that one day when I said I needed a mental break real quick because I was like tripping and you called me.
You don't have to go that far if you don't want to.
No, but it's the same answer, Logan. I look at the state of the world around me. I look at the state of my own life. I look at the relationship between all of it, and I realize, mind you, I do love myself, and I'm glad I can say that out loud. But nonetheless, there are times where I'm like, no, I could be doing more. I should be doing more. I look at the world and I'm like, why is it like this? Who decided this? And it seems like no one cares.
It really does seem like a common problem lately.
Just like no one lately, Claire? Lately? No.
Yeah.
It's just we're conscious enough now, because before people were distracting you by making you work, being like, no, you don't have to think about anything. You just have to work, make it 9 to 5.
It's been an ongoing issue. I won't get into it too much because it's not my business, but someone I know has been having an ongoing issue for the last few years. They haven't worked because they haven't been very well. And they're very perceptive and they've noticed a lot of stuff. And it's been an ongoing issue for this person because they can see it and no one else can. And maybe they saw it before everyone else did because of not working or anything like that. And because of that, they now feel crazy. They feel like, you know, no one believes them, because as we were talking about earlier, I can't remember if it was being recorded or not, but with like hemp and propaganda and the paper industry and the tobacco industry and whatever else.
Yeah.
It's so easy to fall into that 9 to 5 of, you know, this is how life is. And, you know, that's how it is. And, you know, me and Ben were talking about it recently and we're like, yeah, but, you know, sexism was how it was. Racism was how it was. Fucking, you know, child work, slavery was how it was. Sweatshops was how it was. Like, just because it is how it is.
How it is. Technically, in some parts,
Well, same for everything else, but
I know, right?
That's not the conversation I'm having right now.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
Just because I'm trying to stay focused.
Yeah, I got you. Keep going.
And those other conversations are a lot.
Yeah, they're a lot.
They deserve their own.
Yeah,
art,
absolutely.
Anywho's. So just because change is imminent or a thing doesn't mean it's bad, and like that's something that we were really talking about, and the fact that like it's so frustrating to watch people be so ignorant about change when it's positive, or be so ignorant because they don't want to believe it because it's uncomfortable. And I've talked about this before. I don't give a fuck if you're uncomfy. Like being uncomfy is just
growth.
Yeah. Like I'm uncomfy every time I have to learn about something new, a new issue that affects someone else other than me, because I'm a white person and that's just a fact of how life is. And that doesn't mean anything. Like I'm just uncomfy. Good for me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there and I'm learning, and that's how it be. Like that's it. That's it. That's how it be. And I get uncomfy when people get mad at me for things I say or things I do. But that doesn't mean they're not in the right to be mad at me about that sort of stuff. Because it can be even simple things as like, why the fuck did you put the friggin', I don't know, box in that corner instead of that corner at work or whatever? And I'm sitting there like, oh, this is so uncomfy. I feel so bad because like I'm being yelled at. But at the end of the day, I need to learn not to put the box in that corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need to.
Right.
It's a whole thing. I'm getting
Claire,
off track
do you
again.
feel like
Yes.
do you feel like we probably know too much now?
I don't.
That's like a separate conversation entirely.
No, I feel like
almost.
no. I think it's kind of in line with what we're talking about a little bit.
Well, I think going back to negative spaces, the internet is an incredibly negative space. I think that
it definitely can be,
specifically social media.
Well, look at that last talk we had with the women you brought up. That is perfect example of how like a social media space can be disgusting and horrible.
Yeah. And, I just think because of that, we don't know everything now. I don't think so. I don't think we know everything at all. I think we have the opportunity to know everything. I think knowledge is at our fingertips, and we are the generation who grew up with the ability to, especially, and like the next generation as well, have the ability to just jump on and find whatever you want to find and have that. But instead we're busy scrolling through Instagram, looking at TikTok videos and fucking like sending memes and shit. Like we're not, like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many times I've heard misinformation spread, and I feel like I have accidentally spread misinformation just because a lot of our media is opinions, a lot of our, podcasts especially. And that's why I've been so hard on myself about that. And if I have spread misinformation, I am truly sorry. And I'm willing to learn not to do that, because I have been trying over the last 11 to 12 podcasts to be a little bit more careful about that. Yeah. Because like I said, sometimes you're expressing an opinion and you're forgetting you're on a platform, and that happens through YouTube videos, like movies and stuff. Like, when you watch a movie, a lot of the time it's coming from the director's opinion. Like I was watching Simpsons the other friggin' day, and I'm like, Matt Groening is a Republican piece of shit. Like just because of what was being projected onto my TV, Right. So I think we're not taking that into consideration, and then we're absorbing and we're absorbing and we're absorbing and we're absorbing a lot of negative bullshit from these spaces, and not all of it's factual. And, like I was reading up on something Logan said the other day about how the population isn't actually overgrowing. That was purely an American study based in America. America's population is actually fine, but that wasn't a worldwide study, but they were expressing it and putting it out like it was a worldwide study. Meanwhile, in China,
well, overpopulation has been a problem in China for like a very long time.
Yeah, but that's
like
just specific. No, but well, that's not the point, Logan. Okay. The point is that's specific to China, and you're talking specific to America. But at the end of the day, we all live on this planet, and we all have the planet itself. If China's overpopulated, then the planet is on its fucking way. Like everyone's breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding.
It depends because
regardless.
No, because when
it
it
doesn't
comes
depend,
to
Logan. It doesn't. I don't
Well, why
understand why
not?
you're defending this, because it's basic math.
It's not basic
if
math.
You've got the whole of a.
It's
No,
not
you're
basic
not good at
math
though,
to
so you
say.
can't say.
Well, what I'm saying is, what I mean is that it's not basic math. Like, it's not a guaranteed thing that the population will increase. No, it's not. No, it's not, because
do you
America.
know the population has increased by 100,000 just by the pandemic alone?
Yes, but
That's worldwide.
America has a problem where the people, like young people in America, aren't basically fucking enough.
But that's America. You again are being
I know.
American
So that's
central.
wait.
You
That's
are
what they're
being
fucking
American
enough.
central. And when we have Europe, we have Asia, we have Australia, we have fucking the whole world, and you are focusing solely on American central. America
I know.
isn't going to
Slow
affect
down
that
for a
much.
second. I have a point. I do have a point. I just want to say it. Give me a second. Is that you said that yes, that the problem was that like China is overpopulated. China's been like
That was just an
overpopulated.
example, but yes.
Yes, no, I understand. China's been overpopulated since probably the late 80s or so.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had like laws with how many children you could have and things like that, right? America, on the other hand, is not overpopulated because we have the space for vast amount, way more people than like other countries do, because our country is as big as our country is like, it spans both sides of a continent. Like it
How about
it
you,
goes all
instead
the
of
way.
like keeping on having baby, you just give like Alaska and Mexico some more room. Like, how about instead of like filling it
go
up
through
with
some
North
things.
American bullshit?
You just give them
How
because
about
nobody
we
wants
not-
to live in Alaska except like Republicans who gave up
What
on
about
life.
Canada?
And like
Canada? Sorry, I don't
You
mean to be
said
rude to Canadians. I didn't mean it.
Canada.
I'm sorry,
I love
guys. I really am.
Oh,
Canadians are nice. though.
Anyways,
Um,
what my point was is that one problem is overpopulation over in China, but the problem we're having here is we're getting close to the point where we're going to have an underpopulation problem here in America. So it's
Well,
not
who
an
cares?
inevitable.
Like-
Well, because you
it
said
all
that
balances out. It all
that
balances
doesn't
out.
balance out if one
Does
side of the
it?
globe is that's what I'm saying, Mitch. If one side of the globe is clearly overpopulated, and then the
but you're
other
not-
side.
Okay, but here's the thing. So we got 100 M&Ms in front of me. There's 100 M&Ms.
Okay.
You are only talking about 2 M&Ms in the span to cover the entire 100 M&Ms. That's not like it doesn't like there's
We
not
don't
enough
make up 2%
information
of the.
here.
No, we don't make up 2% of the world's population.
No, that's
We're not
what I'm
actually
saying.
sure
I'm not
how
saying
much
that.
of
I'm
the
saying you're
percentage.
talking the 2 M&Ms
Yeah.
are China and America. So you're only talking
Okay.
about China and America
Okay.
when there's a whole bunch of other countries and issues and places with
The rest
people
of
Right.
on
Asia,
them.
the rest
Exactly.
of North
People
America.
on them, and
Right.
you're not acknowledging them in this argument.
Scenario.
So
Yes.
So
So
with
what I was.
China and America, that balances out for China and America, and then they just get added back in to
If
this.
it
And,
actually
you know,
what I was
does
going
Europeans
to
balance
will
out.
come
say
over
about
to
that-
America, and Australians come over to America, and American, you know what I mean? Like,
So what I was going to say about that is that my point being, even just bring up the 2 countries, is that because of the different cultures and the different economic situations and just the differences in the 2 countries, it's not a guaranteed thing that one country, because one country is overpopulated, then another country will also follow suit. That's what my point was.
okay.
Is that just because you have this overpopulation problem in one part of the world doesn't mean that same thing is going to happen in every part of the world. You know what I
Ow.
mean? So,
Yeah, I just sanitized with cat
yes.
scratches.
yeah.
Oh
Yikes.
no!
Sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
interrupt.
okay. I was just hoping you was okay.
Living that cat life.
Cat life.
Oh, it's so stingy. It's so stingy.
I
Anyway.
did want to say, but you still have to, because like on a globe, we don't know the actual numbers, and that's the hard part. But the thing is, you still have to acknowledge one piece in the global scheme.
Look, I don't
like, what
want to
does
talk
that
about it
add
anymore
to?
because I'm getting frustrated and we've gone way off topic from negative spaces. But I just want to
This
say
is a negative
also,
space.
I know I'm becoming a negative space. Fucking.
Time to navigate. Time to
So
navigate.
I'll navigate my way out here and just say one final thing, and I'm not trying to annoy you, Logan, in saying this.
Okay.
But that article in itself was flawed because I looked on who they did studies on and everything, and it was it was a really white study. Like it was a hella white study. And as you know, there are Black people, Indigenous people, Asian people all living in America as well. So maybe white people aren't fucking as much, but that's a good thing, right? Like, who's to say
we're
that's
not
negative?
racist, Claire. Like, shit.
No.
I am to white
Mitch,
people.
stay out of white people's business. This is between them and what they want to do and what they're going to bring up at their meeting. You know what I mean? So let's just,
I'll bring it up at the next white people meeting.
Yeah,
I'm American. I got to talk about
I'll
all
be
of
like, how about instead of
what y'all Caucasians
Well,
doing over there? I know what's going on, but this mayonnaise
we
sex
just
ain't
stopped
doing it
having
no
babies
more.
for a while, I know I'm not gonna have a baby. Hey, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
But that was
part
part of the problem is that a lot of millennials and Generation Z kids just don't want to have kids.
You got kid money?
And
That's
well,
the point.
see, that was the thing during the baby boom and all that. Like,
They
was just fucking.
post-war, everybody's like, "Hey, let's get to
They
it."
didn't all have money.
Plus, well, they didn't need
Yeah,
a
but that was
lot of
stupid,
money back then, and like a lot of them died. A lot
Here's the
of
thing.
people
Back
died.
then was less reliant on social structures as we are now. Like they were actually allowed to own plots of land and farm back then. They were able to make their own food back then. Like nowadays, we are very reliant on money and social, supermarkets and stuff like that. Like, it's very rare that anybody knows how to plant their own garden, let alone is able to do it. Because I know in the Australian government, you have to have all these sorts of permits and stuff. So, because you're technically a farm.
In the city, it's like almost unheard of to be able to.
So it's like there's a lot more loopholes to jump through and stuff to make it work.
Not to
Also,
mention
they didn't have
Jim.
condoms back then.
They did have
Like,
condoms.
Well, they
back
had
then.
had
not
some sort.
accessible. Not accessible. They couldn't walk into their local clinic and grab a handful.
Because
back
pharmacists
then.
will look at you and be like, "What you need with that?
No,
What you need with
because
that?"
that
little
wasn't
dude?"
option
Talking
to
about
them.
misinformation. That's not true.
No, they didn't have that back then.
They had condoms since
They had condoms
since
back then. I'm not saying
Western
they didn't.
times. Like
They
when
didn't.
people are like,
I know,
the
Logan.
lambskin.
Shut up. I
The
know they had
lambskin
condoms back
condoms.
then. I'm saying they weren't accessible to everyone like they are now.
what do you mean by that?
We get free fucking condoms at schools, at fucking clinics, everywhere. They had to pay, and it was usually out the arse, and it wasn't worth it.
Not to mention the pharmacist would look at you and be like, "What you using that for?"
Yeah, there was
You don't
also a
need
whole bunch
these.
of God,
And
Christian ass
sexism.
propaganda against them. There was sexism. Like, you're saying I'm spreading misinformation, but you ain't listening.
All right.
Oh shit! And
No,
we have
see-
Spicy
listen,
Claire in one corner.
Listen, somebody says they want to be more accurate on the pod, then I try to make it more
I
accurate.
am being
and then,
accurate. That's actually something I know is factual. And
right.
if it's wrong, I've missed one bit. Like, I've missed, like, a bit. You know what I mean? Like, there's one
No,
dot
we've
not
missed
connected.
like way more than just that.
Yeah,
Just-
in the past, but that's actually something I know about because I did a stint in women's sexual education and I was brought up.
have we ever talked about anything on the pod that you wanted to like revisit that like
Oh, I
since
can't
you
think of
said
that right
like,
now. I'm angry.
Well, get out your anger.
Email me. If I've said something that's offended you or you think is incorrect or is misspread information, email at the Milk and Toast and I will do something about it. I don't know, like fix it on the next pod or something. Like,
And it was
you
said
say
on
I
the cast.
That was
It's
misspread
official.
and,
all
It's
right,
official.
y'all heard it. If you heard something that Claire said it was incorrect, I'll send it to her in the emails at themilkandtoast@gmail.com. There you go.
Well, that's the thing because I'm not sure if I've misspread information because like we've done 29, 30 episodes now.
This would be 29.
28. This is 28.
I say
29.
a lot of stuff. Like I've talked a lot.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it I've been confident in. And, I'd probably have to go back and listen to every single episode, which is like a lot of hours. Not discouraging if you want to do that, but for me personally, I've listened to it already. I don't want to go back.
I'm a few behind.
Like there are a couple I listened to like
Right.
a couple of times, but there's nothing in there that I thought was funky. My point is, I just don't have the time of day to go back and listen to every single thing I said. But if you've heard something and it's misinformation and you're upset about it or you don't want to listen to me anymore about it because of it or you want to confront me on it, you are more than welcome to do any of those things.
Okay.
So
Claire
Anyway,
gets
he
like
can
a
come at
bunch of messages. Well, actually,
Yeah,
just
look, as long as it's
clacking
not
away.
direct hate that's attacking
So
stupid shit,
back in
like
episode
saying my voice is
9.
gross or whatever.
Yeah, don't
will
just start attacking
respond
Claire.
to it and treat it like an adult. Like I'll approach the situation as expected, and I'm more than willing to hear you out. I will defend myself. That's a thing, but I'm not going to defend myself ignorantly or unwarrantedly, if that makes sense. Like I'm not
Right.
going to be like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like if you start attacking me as a character, I will be like, well, I don't feel like I am that character. I feel like I'm just ignorant, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, long story short, I'm not phased about acknowledging anything I've done wrong because I'm human and I'm hella fucking flawed. And if you don't like my swearing, that's a whole get over it, Delilah.
Do people? I mean,
Who is
at
Delilah?
this point, like this is a pretty cussy podcast.
Delilah.
Like,
Yeah,
we
that's what I
like
meant by
cuss
get
a
over it,
lot.
Delilah. Like, don't come at me about my swearing or my nasally ass voice or like shit I can't help. But if
Why
I'm just
was
being an
it
ignorant
Delilah?
bitch, feel free to talk to me about it.
Just don't call her an ignorant bitch.
That's it. That's all. That's
Yeah,
all they
that's
can do. That's such a lot.
Well, she kind of explained that multiple times.
Anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about like when they take like a character, right? Because this seems like a thing where they'll take a character and then they'll like make them black or they make them Hispanic or they'll like change the gender of the character and then like people get all up in arms about it, right?
Oh,
and I wanted to talk. This is something I wanted to bring up on the podcast for like a long time. It's kind of an issue that's like close to my heart, but at the same time, I just wanted to like, get y'all's opinion on it. Like, because what I hear a lot of the time is like, what people will say is, why can't you make your own characters or why can't we make our own characters and stuff? And it's like, it's not, to me, it's not the point. So I don't know what y'all's opinion is, but like, maybe like, what's y'all's temp check on it?
Oh boy, this is also a tough one because stuff like this happens a lot. I mean, Kid Flash went from some like random white kid and all of a sudden he was mixed black and people were up in arms. Superman's son just came out as bisexual and that's not even Superman himself, but people were like super upset about it.
He's like the new Superman or something like that, right?
No, not even yet. Like he's just Superman's son growing into the role of being a Kryptonian human hybrid who's eventually going to have to carry the weight of the planet on his shoulders. Because why would you not do that after your father if he passes? But kissed one dude is bisexual. Everyone was like, "Oh my god!" I mean, it's weird. It depends, and I guess it depends on the character. Me personally. And if it's like in the same universe and, you're an author who's worked in that universe and if you have an idea for a character and you're like, cause I'm full on just like, make new characters. That's okay. Why do we always use the same old character anyway? How many Batman stories do we have? It's okay if you thought Batman should be black to do like they did with Batwing and like create like a black Batman character. You know what I mean? It just gets weird with continuity to me sometimes.
While you're there, what do you think about like a black Bruce Wayne?
So here's the thing. So like, you remember the 444 album that Jay-Z dropped? I gotta find the song.
Don't play no damn songs on the podcast.
I'm not playing the song. I just need
you did that last time, and I don't even know if it's gonna get flagged or not. I like put it up.
You played? Sweet.
Yeah,
yo, that's that
I
jam,
had to cut
bro.
it down though, but
that's that fucking jam, bro. But no, so there was a point that he made in the 444 album for which was it? I don't think it was Family Feud. It might have been Moonlight. But the point was, do you remember the Carmichael show? What's that comedian? Do you remember the music video, Jay? Yeah. They made black friends. And it was the Carmichael kid and Hannibal talking. He's like, and Hannibal just like, yeah, I made black friends. The most stupidest piece of shit I've ever seen. And to me, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, we don't need a black Bruce Wayne. If you want a rich billionaire black character to play Batman,
but Friends was black before it was white.
We're not talking about Living Single because Living
Single
Single
is Friends.
Living Single is not Friends. Friends is Living Single. Don't you disrespect Living Single on a podcast?
No,
like
I'm saying Living Single is Friends as like there would be no Friends without Living Single. That's what I mean. Like, Living Single literally birthed Friends. Is like if they didn't have it to take from us, it wouldn't exist. Like, that's what I'm saying.
And so good thing brought up there, because it's like different titles, you know, different casts and all like that. But there's a different element tying in there with media being racist. I mean, what else could we say? We know why Living Single didn't get as much publicity or media coverage as Friends did.
Right.
We know that white people have been stealing black people's artistic ideas. Hello, rock and roll. Been a while, but we ain't forget. You know what I'm saying? Hello, you know, hip hop and coming in and trying to make it this media pop sound that it is now. Because, you know, we do great things in America. And typically, white Americans have stolen ideas from black Americans. It was a black female scientist who put someone on the moon. When did we hear about that again?
In that Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah, one of them. When did we hear about that again? Yeah. How long has it been since that's been the truth? You know, there are different elements. But in keeping to the focus of like writing new characters and changing them up, like it's a tough one, bro. Because there's a part of me that likes to keep a character's continuity what it is. Mm-hmm. But it's also very interesting to see like what if moments like in Marvel. Like, you know, Peggy Carter. But see, that's the thing, because she was a different character. She wasn't Captain America. She was Captain Carter, and it was like really fucking awesome to see her character grow into that. I thought that was great. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's about how you doing it. Because if you want to like, oh, we're in the same universe, so there's already a Bruce Wayne, and then what she just wrote a story. All right,
and he's just black.
He just wakes up. He's black. Now, in one element, as funny as that sounds, that would be kind of like the dopest shit ever. But on the other side, it'd be
not
really
like
dumb.
he was white yesterday and he woke up and he's black. Like,
Logan,
he's
that's
just
exactly
in the
what
story.
I'm talking about, with how horrible
so
a story can be. That'd be so horrible to just be like, he woke up one day and Alfred comes in. You know, Alfred comes in like, hello, sir. You know what you need? And he's like, yeah. You know, it hasn't always been easy being a black billionaire on the streets. You know, my parents died on Crime Alley. You know, it's like, what? That'd be strange. But imagine, you know, telling a story from another universe, which has probably been done considering when you talk DC Marvel, and it's like, oh, we have a black Bruce Wayne. It's just like how they did a black Superman, Val Zod, I believe his name was. And they modeled him after, you know, Obama, which is another thing in itself. But like, that was a cool concept, because that's kind of how you imagine how, you know, Kryptonians who absorb solar energy and radiation a constant.
My thing is Superman, even though it was Jewish people that made Superman, so technically Superman's Jewish, but like, to me, well, no, technically, for real, like, if you want to be like real,
I just don't know if you should say it like that, but okay.
Well, no, what I meant is like, it's like technically Superman's not white is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, technically he's not white, but like, white people are gonna say he's white, so whatever. But no, to me, technically Superman should be black.
I mean, like, I think the Kryptonian race would. Yeah, I think their physiology would be black. They absorb radiation from the sun. I don't know about you, but what?
Yeah, but wouldn't that make them like? I'm not trying to be like anti-black, but I'm just trying to be real, like very realistic in the sense that like, wouldn't that make them like an orangey color? Like, wouldn't they just be aliens? Like
Starfire, who also absorbs solar radiation.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
To me, Superman should be black because he comes from a planet. And because he comes from like a whole planet.
Wait,
yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
Because
he comes from a planet?
Wait, okay. Damn. Y'all just like hear me say like half a dumb comment and then just like jump on it. Like, wait.
I know, but that's a stupid comment.
Like, wait for the whole sentence to be dumb first before, like, don't wait for 2 words to be dumb.
Okay,
like,
all right.
Listen,
all right, okay.
What I mean is that like Superman comes from like an entire ass planet, right? Which for as much as we know is not divided by like race or anything, like as far as like color goes, right? So Superman could really be any color. So like the probability of like him being white to me is actually really low. Like,
okay,
you know,
that's fair.
Yeah, like the probability of like Superman being like Asian looking, black, or like Hispanic looking, or anything really besides white is like way higher than it is Superman coming to this
technically coming all the
agree that like white is a very big leap, but at the same time, like I just feel like it's one of those things where like he would look like an alien, and then when he went to Earth, it'd be really hard for him to like fit in, you know.
Well,
if he's like a humanoid, it's like,
Well, that's what happened. I understand. So technically, the Kryptonian can be any shade of us. Kryptonians basically look like us, except their physiology and genes made it so that their cells absorb radiation. Right. So the reason I'm like, they probably come darker skin, but they didn't play that in the story originally. It's just because you're absorbing radiation. But like,
we on Earth have darker skinned people. The colorings that we do is because of how far we are away from the sun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they're right on the radiation. So I just feel like it would be different. Like it might still be dark. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying I feel like it'd just be different coloring. This is just me being like a little bit too accurate.
On your point, that's your point is my point, Claire, is that he wouldn't necessarily be a white person just because
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I don't know that. Y'all don't know how the pale faces deal on there.
This is why. Okay, wait, hold. This is why. This is part of the reason why. This is the part of the reason why I think about this subject so often is because outside of Batman, like, and I hate the Batman example because like every time like somebody says like, you can't make Bruce Wayne white, it's because Bruce Wayne has money, and that's just fucked up. Like that's like literally that's the only reason I've ever heard like
what
when
is that?
Huh?
I just said no. I was just surprised and was like, "What is that?"
No,
like I was just overwhelmed.
Like a couple of years ago on Twitter, there was like a conversation about like what should the next Batman be? Who should it be the next Batman? And then they had conversations about like should they have a black Batman, right? And then so it's like a bunch of black writers and stuff mostly on Twitter talking about the subject and then talking about like people like Daniel Kaluuya. Somebody help me!
Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya playing Batman, or like people like that. Like even I think like the Winston Duke got brought up. The guy that played M'Baku, like he would be like
people just love him. Like women just love that man. Like,
he's that dude.
Guy.
He's that dude.
But I don't see it. But like I do think he's a handsome dude. But the way these women be crushing on him,
he's like huge, but he's also like that teddy bear.
But
like
exactly.
he's got that going for him.
Exactly,
but like,
he does.
But like so like they had like those names coming up. But then like with the story came up, like how would that happen? It's like all these like things were like, oh well, maybe he's adopted, maybe he's like, he's not really rich, but like, and it's just
he's
like
a black billionaire, bitch.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's just the dumbest thing because like you're writing fiction, like
exactly.
DC is such like a fiction oriented like universe,
like way more than like
way more than Marvel because like all of the cities are like based on real cities, but they're fictional cities. Like you have Gotham, Star City,
New York,
Metropolis.
Metropolis is like New York during the day and shit like that.
Yeah, it's like all these different types of fictional places that like you could just have a billionaire black person and it would not have to be any type of
blink an eye.
Yeah, like
it doesn't have to be like some sort of fucking awful stereotype, like gangster or whatever. Like,
yeah, no, not at all.
And so, like, sometimes it seems like it causes us so much of a mental strain to think of these characters as like just not white. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that I could like make like Lord of the Rings, but like an all black Lord of the Rings.
Have you seen the all black cast meme?
No.
with Michael K. Williams, may he rest in power, as Frodo, bro. You haven't seen Lord of the Rings? Return of the King? Y'all ain't seen Lord of the Rings?
No, I didn't see no shit like that.
No, I have not.
Bro, let me see if I can find a Lord of the Rings meme, bro. You ain't seen Lord of the Rings, bro? Oh my god.
Well, while you're looking at that, that's basically my point. Is that like I think we just like dropped the ball on like what we think should be like inclusive or what we think should be like.
Before you continue on that thought, as I'm searching, I need to let you know we didn't drop a single bar. America's been racist we didn't drop a single ball. America's been racist for the longest time, which is the only reason we don't have more black, fictional fantasy science fiction characters.
I don't know if that's
Logan. It's a balance. It's a balance of there has been this giant wall for us to surmount because there are lots of characters coming about. But once again, we didn't start because comic books in America are starting pre-1950s.
Yeah.
You're not putting black faces on that's just not happening. I don't care what anybody says. That's not something in America. that's happening like that on a regular basis for there to be like a large range of like different, colors represented in comic book media and stuff. It's happening now, thank God. It's happening because there were people, Stan Lee, helping with the creation of Black Panther and stuff like that. There were people like, we should have characters like that, that's representative of our demographic. Mm-hmm. But there were also fucking, firms being like, nah, you can't put niggas in fucking, what are you talking about? What? You laugh, Logan. You laugh, no, but that's true, not though. A joke. You can't. True. What you got? You Hispanic dude? What the fuck? What are you talking about? He's some Mexican farmer? What? Oh, and to let it be publicly known a character was Jewish would also get you some, oh, what? Mm-hmm. Like, what's going on with that? That wasn't a regular, normal thing. And you're having to bridge this gap almost because there hasn't been enough representation. We're talking about science fiction and fantasy universes, right? What colors are elves usually? Super fair skin, white, long hair, and all that. Super white. It's a fucking elf. Yeah, do you think that's how it had to be?
It doesn't make any sense.
It didn't have to be like. It's the same thing with why we have white Jesus. People heard the story and was like, "Oh, he must look like me. If it's going to be this fantastical creation, why wouldn't he be pale faced with this long straight hair and this, wonderful palette?"
Actually, technically wavy, but okay.
I'm talking about white people's translation.
Wait, I don't even know who we're talking about anymore. Are we talking about Jesus or elves?
I meant Jesus.
Both.
I'm just being stupid.
We're talking about both, goddammit, and the fact that when you're creating something and we're talking about fiction, you have the option of really pushing the envelope, or you have the option of just pushing it slightly and being like, yeah, we're gonna put them in these circumstances. Yeah, they're on other planets and stuff. What do they look like, Jim? The fuck you mean they look like? They look like us. End of story. That's why that happens. Now, excuse me, as I look for Lord of the Rings. Oh, I ain't letting that go. I'm gonna see if I can find the ring, the meme and send it to y'all. Oh yes. Oh yes. Y'all ain't seen this, man. Oh, and it was I forget it was Morgan Freeman as Gandalf, bro.
That makes sense.
Of course, like so much fucking sense.
I don't like Morgan Freeman, but that makes sense.
You don't like I hate Morgan Freeman?
Oh my god. Cause like I like Logan, I like him in movies, kind of. But like Morgan Freeman, when he like does an interview, he just needs to shut the fuck up.
How dare you?
No, he needs to stop. He needs to stop talking. Fuck
Morgan. Don't you listen to Logan? You don't have to listen
to
him.
He doesn't. He barely knows. Shut he barely the fuck knows up, anything. Morgan Freeman.
He barely knows anything. Morgan. I just can't believe
Morgan don't know shit.
I just can't believe
Every
this guy.
Every time Morgan Freeman speaks, you don't know shit.
Lord of the Rings meme.
What
in the Milk and Toasties podcast?
Here? Oh my god, Don Cheadle is Legolas.
You're welcome. Don Cheadle's Legolas. And look at him. Look at him, bro. Look at him.
Got Will Smith as Aragorn.
Bro, look at him. Look at him.
Going on?
Oh, yo, and Beyonce sitting in the back. I forgot she was there.
Yo,
it was Beyonce in the back. I think she was playing Arwen.
No,
bro, but look at
it. That's Galadriel.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
bro, look at it though.
This
look
is Boromir. This is crazy,
bro. Ain't it great?
Amazon's Lord of the Rings.
Donald Glover is fucking one of the little guys. The hobbits.
Oh shit! It might be. You can't get in that Jeep. You have to. It might be though.
It's like Cuba Gooding Jr. is one of them too.
Oh, bro, isn't it glorious? Isn't it glorious, bro? I found another one where I think
Yo, this is crazy.
I think it was Forrest Whitaker as Boromir with the lazy eye. Bro, let me see. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. But let me say
ox.
Let me say
Who is that?
Oh my god. I didn't even notice they had the ring race of the KKK.
Yeah, right? Hey man, it's fantasy. That's their coat of arms.
Oh my god.
That's their coat of arms. I mean, it's Sauron. They evil. What you mean? What you mean? It makes all the sense in the world to me.
Oh my god.
Bro, I just noticed that too. That's funny. Here, let me show you the one.
Yo, this is crazy.
Let me see. Where'd it go? Come on, Forrest Whitaker is Boromir. There it is. And there's your Boromir.
No, that's stupid. There's crazy.
Your Boromir. There's your Boromir. If only we had live feeds. But So as you can see, obviously we could have had a full black cast of fucking Lord of the Rings. It would have been amazing. Shit, we could have had a super diverse cast, but no. It was based in Middle Earth, and Middle Earth had to be similar to the Middle Ages. And another thing people like to forget historically when you're talking about the Middle Ages, you're not just talking about the Middle Ages in Europe. That was a time period in Africa, in China. And mind you, people traveled.
They did call it different things. Japan called it the feudal era. Yeah. Just
stuff like that.
I wasn't actually disagreeing with you. I was just trying to give more facts.
No, it's clarification.
Then it came off a little argumentative. So I was
like,
oh,
shit.
She gave like a sprinkle of facts too. She like,
I was just being like, yeah, but they did call it different. I was just trying to jog other people's memories. So because like we do talk about it. It's just always so disconnected.
Yeah, there is a large
same
disconnect.
Period of time.
Like, and it's not noted enough that people back in those time periods did still travel. You had random people showing up in random places. That's why you have like certain demographics in areas where it's not exactly 0% black. Someone showed up there at some point, or you have stories in different lands. It was like, we called this person this, or we made them a monster sometimes, which is horrible when that happens.
On that note though, because you did bring up Middle Earth, I wanted to ask you, Mitch, where do we find Mount Mordor on a map? In
terms of a realistic map?
Yeah, where will we find one?
You won't.
All right. So like Middle Earth is not like fucking real, right?
No, not at all.
So like if Middle Earth ain't fucking real, how do we know that white people only exist on Middle Earth?
Exactly, my brother.
Because I feel like that's usually the excuse for why black people aren't in Lord of the Rings. And it's like, okay, where the fuck? Show me where Middle Earth is. Like, where is that shit?
Mind you, bro, if you want to just, because obviously it's based off like Europe during the Middle Ages, but keep in mind, you know what I'm saying? We had Moors during those time period. We had like
is that
Arabs,
like black
a lot of
people didn't
Arabs
exist anywhere?
You know what I mean? There was many cultures circulating at that time. You know what I mean? What was his name? Because it was King Richard III when they were at that Cyrus War during the Crusades. Saladin, that king. You have plenty of those people coming in and out of each other. They could have had some black dudes pulled up, you know, turbaned up with certain like garb like that alongside of like the European Middle Age garb and just making it work. You could have Chinese people pulling up too. You could have the elves not just be white.
Talk about how Genghis Khan just like decided to take over a quarter of Europe one day.
It's like, hey, hi.
So like you just have like all those Asian fuckers like just in Europe.
All you saw was horseback and then a shower of arrows.
To this day, you still have tribes that are descendant from him in Russia.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thing.
And no, but Logan, once again, so you was like, haha, Mitch, what are you talking? It's like, no. So when you look at where all this is coming from, the fact of the matter is, whether we're talking fantasy, science fiction, I am super thankful for those genres, beholden to them almost. That's the only areas I really like to even navigate.
Right.
But nonetheless, when we're talking about America, like if I want to talk like a story, I got to go find Anansi the Spider. That was probably the first African folklore story I saw. And then Static Shock made him a superhero. That Anansi, you remember the Anansi episode in Static Shock?
No.
Which was the dope, I'll get into that, it's like the dopest thing. But nonetheless, when we're talking about fictional writing and we get into fantasy, we get into sci-fi, we get into superhero and comic books, the writers pre like 1950 were mostly white faces.
Right.
And therefore, when they're creating those universes, they're reflecting it off themselves. They aren't necessarily thinking about us.
Yeah,
and
but
specifically not thinking about us.
I think the problem now is beyond that is just that I think there's a hesitation about what the audience might do and how the audience might react.
Well, when you're changing characters, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's also kind of bullshit. Because I think people like us, that's bullshit on our part where like, well, like even if in the Batman example, like those were black journalists that were saying that Batman couldn't be black for a whole plethora of like bullshit reasons. It's like just internalized racism that we're like walking around with that like prevents us from like just doing shit. Like Batman's like my favorite character. Like kids, I remember I used to dress up as Batman like for Halloween, like when I was a kid. And then like you know, remember when you go to Halloween and like elementary school, you go to first grade Halloween.
You can't
like,
be Batman.
Like,
Batman is white.
I'm like, I'm like,
well, he gonna
and
be
you're
black
8.
today.
Where do you get that from? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but that's a real thing. That's a real thing that happens, you know? And that's a real thing that happens to little kids. And that's why Black Panther was so important too. Because like you have all these black kids that can go to school as like Black Panther. And then you have all these white kids that are told that, you know, you can't be Black Panther because you're white.
Question on the other side. Like, and you have,
But you know, Black Panther is a little different. It's a little different because it's Batman, not Black Man. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, different that way. You know what I mean?
I think white men really do underestimate how much representation matters. And I say specifically white men. Absolutely. Because I got in an argument, or not an argument, but like a pseudo debate with Ben at one point because he was like, oh, I don't get why Princess Leia meant so much to women. And I was like, she was a woman who didn't just kowtow and die. Or kowtow and be saved. Like, you know what I mean? It was so frustrating to try and explain to him because I couldn't even think of the words to try and explain.
Ben
I don't
looked
even know
you in the face and said that out loud?
And it's just ignorance. It's fine. I understand now. But it's...
She's like, he's just a man.
Like, it's just sometimes things happen. She's like, Mitchell, no, don't do that. Don't do that right now. I can't do that. I love him. I'm like, okay, I'm just surprised.
No, but, he's white. He's a boy. So.
He's white. He's a boy. I like the honesty. Thank you for that.
He's just learning slower than the rest of us because he didn't have to friggin' sit in it.
Yeah. No. Facts.
I mean, no, talk your shit. Talk your shit, Claire.
He's kind. Like, he would never purposely, but there's just some things that you have to say.
Catch people
and he'll be
on.
like, oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there was like a full argument about that. And I remember the more important part of the conversation I'm trying to say is I sat there for a whole minute being like, this guy's never had no one. Like, he's always had someone represent him. He's never. He's never projected onto a feminine looking guy or like a lighter skinned man. Like, he's never had to like find his force his way into representation, you know.
Before the podcast we were talking about anime, and it was kind of funny because like we were talking about anime. We're talking about Naruto, right? And the thing to me that's funny is because like I started watching anime pretty young, but like my mom would be in the room and see it, and like she didn't like it, but like she doesn't like anime because she says their faces don't move as much as like she would like them to. Like she says that like their expressions aren't as expressive as like American style animation, and so she like hates it because like they'll sit on a full I know what she means, like they'll sit on a full frame of expression and like they'll have a whole conversation on one expression and then like it'll switch to the next scene.
The expression well, that's a different conversation.
But the thing she always brought up was that like, you know, especially when we started watching Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that, is because she's like, why? She's like, wow, these people, they really know. She goes like, wow, they really know what they're doing because like they really, really cater to like white people a lot. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, they do, like, because we're watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And she goes, who's the best? What's the best card in this episode? And I go, Blue Eyes White Dragon. And she goes, okay.
Don't do that.
She goes, oh. And so like, why did that card just beat the other one? I was like, which card? And she goes, that dragon there. I was like, oh, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. And she goes, well, why isn't that card gonna be him? I'm like, well, with the Blue Eyes White Dragon, it's like it's got more points, it's more powerful, and all this and that. And she goes, why do you think that is?
Don't do that. Oh, don't do that.
And like she would bring little stuff like that up, and like she would like be like when we started watching Naruto, she'd be like, Logan, why does that boy have blue eyes and blonde hair? And I'm like, well, she goes, is this in America? I'm like, no, like it's kind of like Japan, but kind of not. And she's like, oh, so like he's got blue eyes and blonde hair,
which is why I fuck with Uchihas. First off,
like, but like she's got a point though.
Oh,
like,
the emo black guys. See, this is what I'm talking about: finding representation where we can.
Yeah,
I'm talking about actual Japanese guys, Claire. That's all I meant to say by that.
I mean,
so we're clear.
Because, oh my god, that was so funny. Ben was like, why is there so many sad brunette women on Naruto? And I was like, it's based in Japan.
We have to talk about something really quickly because it's a topic I wanted to talk about, but I haven't gotten the chance to do the full research.
What?
But what we're talking about right now is colorism, which still exists everywhere. Paler faces, lighter skin, globally is usually considered better than darker shades. That happens almost everywhere. In
No,
India,
that's true.
In India, the caste system, Brahmins usually tend to be, and most of my Indian people tell me this, who I know. The Brahmin caste, which would be the priest, tended to be fairer skin, and then the lower the caste, the darker your skin got. And Japan, China, being lighter, you notice that the makeup gets your face really white, right? You remember in Mulan, she was like, yo, you gotta have the face all white. That's how you get a man and stuff like that. It all travels. It's all, lighter skin because light and dark. So lighter skin equates to, that's better. And Japanese anime, remember, like, keep in mind, Japan and most of the world weren't always on good terms.
Oh my God, that doesn't remind me of something else, which is a total other jump. But I just want to say it just quickly. You can edit it out if you want to because it does not flow. I had no idea how much the world sexualizes Hinata.
Oh.
Really?
Like, I had no idea.
Damn, you didn't, Claire, really?
Sit here and listen.
No, I'm not attacking you.
Listen to me.
I'm just a little shocked.
So I've been yelling at Logan for years about his like, oh, Hinata's just an oversized sex doll, blah, blah. I'm like, are you kidding? Because I'm sitting here watching the real Hinata, the Hinata portrayed on the show, the little kid Hinata.
Claire.
I related as a kid. I related to little kid Hinata. So that's why when everyone was sexualizing her, I was like, well, that's who I relate to, and she's an actual person, and she has heart, and she tries, and like as a kid, I was not as feisty or Sakura as I am now. I worked my way up to this. I was Hinata through and through. Like, I couldn't speak. I was very soft-spoken. You know, I was abused. Like, you know,
right.
like, I was Hinata. So when people started putting her down and making her lesser of a person, that just aggravated me.
Putting you down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I get so defensive about Hinata. It's not even because I think she should, like, I don't care about this. Like, I don't care if she ends up with Naruto or whoever she ends up with. I like her as a person, as a character, and I'm proud of her.
Have you not finished
how far
Naruto?
She came.
No,
I
she
finished
has.
Naruto, and I'm onto Boruto.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you know who she ends up with.
I know all about it, but I'm so proud of how far she's come.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the kid Hinata is the Hinata that I have in my head. I've seen it all, but the kid Hinata is who I have in my head. And y'all are talking about fucking sexed up, big-titted Hinata.
No, Logan's talking about sexed up, big-titted Hinata.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hinata does got some big titties, but nonetheless, she's a person.
So
my thing is,
so do I.
people always get mad. People always get mad at me for just telling y'all how the world is out here. I didn't make the world like this. I like Hinata just because she's a Hyuga and they do that weird shit with their palms where they slap you to death. Like, I like that shit. Okay? So
the gentle fist. God damn it, boy. Just leave the room.
Just
leave the fucking room.
I love how he's like that. You guys can't see, but he did like this weird, like, really, like, rude interpretation of gentle fist. Like, he was out here like just flailing and flopping.
That's how that shit looks.
There was no actual
like if you was in a fight with somebody like that, like that's what it would look like. Somebody like
Neji,
not
slapping the
shit
out of you.
Put an extra nen in there.
Die.
Rest in peace.
I can do what I want.
You can say what you want, do what you want, but that doesn't mean anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, y'all get
back to colorism.
Y'all get mad defensive when I just like tell y'all how the world is.
I feel that. No, I feel that.
I'm
back to
mad
colorism.
Because you
mad
didn't say any of that before.
Because you deserve it.
Saying, colorism.
I'm sorry. Yes.
What is going on?
That is why Japanese anime characters still come pale faced.
You do know. We should know that, like, yes, Naruto's blonde hair and blue eyed. But so was
Yugi?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I knew that was what you were thinking of. Oh man.
Blonde hair. I mean, he's a card game character though. So
like the main characters for Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, there's Yugi and then there's Yu-Gi-Oh and then there's Yugi Nara.
They'll make like the characters, the main character, like blonde hair, blue eyed. In Bleach, he's like a redhead.
Bleach, he was Carrot Tops. Yep.
Yeah, there's like so many examples of like animes that like just like they're like subtly catering to like whiteness in a way.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It made them a lot of money in a booming industry.
Make them a lot of money.
Keep in mind, like I was telling you, so Globe wasn't always on good terms with Japan, if y'all remember World War II. Then some things happened, some really atrocious things. and they had to rebuild. Well, I don't want to just. I feel it'd be.
You mean like when America like occupied Japan for like 40 years?
Well, I was going to talk about
things.
I was going to talk about before that when America dropped 2 atomic bombs that they had no idea what the casualties or whatever would be on a country without any like tests or anything.
Type of some things.
That type of. But I figured mentioning that would be like kind of insensitive, like callous, like that. I didn't even want to talk about the occupation, but look at what's happened. Look at the result. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Claire.
Sorry, I got stuck on the Hanada thing again, and I was just like, I just hate when I don't know how I stay so disconnected from the world. Like, I just hate when I walk in like 10 hours late to a party and everyone's like, yeah, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad about it.
You're mad you found out that like people were like fetishizing Hanada the whole time?
I knew that they did. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm just slow. I knew that they did. I just saw the other day there were all these like metal things for anime, like they were like metal posters, and they had Naruto and he was in Naruto clothes, and they had fucking Sakura and she was in Sakura clothes, and they had Sasuke clothes, and they had like everybody in their actual clothes, and then Hanada was in like a bikini with a lollipop. And I was like,
that's a transition.
That's not.
It was a lot.
I don't want to see that.
It was a lot. I was very offended. I was very upset. I was like, wow.
She got Velma'd.
Like, I didn't get. Oh, she's another one of my fucking favorite characters. Are you kidding me? Like.
Oh, man. Blame them. Well, we could move on to how women are treated in fiction, specifically fantasy and sci-fi, because as soon as you put a woman in some armor. I didn't mean to like completely combat colorism. Like, sorry, didn't mean that.
No,
like,
it was just Asian colorism,
No, it was global colorism, but I was speaking specifically on Japan. But it's okay because I didn't want to have the full talk.
I'm messing with the both of you. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it was in Japan.
I'm sorry,
it's a
I didn't mean to take that conversation over. I just
no. I wasn't trying to have the full.
It's
convo.
important.
I'm still not I'm still not trying to have the full conversation because I legit would like to really delve into it because colorism is a problem everywhere, and America hasn't helped. But it was kind of like in certain cultures before. But it's like you look at the shades of things, and the darker you are on the shades, the more we're thinking negative qualities. The lighter you are on the shades, the more we're thinking positive qualities, and that's a global thing now. Being combated, yes, but in terms of Japanese anime. Especially with what your mom was saying. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of funny because we get Yugi, but then we get to see them in Egypt, and that's one of the few media representation where they have darker skinned Egyptians, even though they like gave them straight hair still and stuff like that.
But Yami isn't darker skinned. He is
Egyptian. No. He is when you go back to flashbacks of him, but when it's Yugi, because remember, Yami's a spirit existing inside Yugi's puzzle. So when he manifests, he looks like Yugi. They don't
he should be a black man in that little white boy's body.
That's the thing, though. I'm not trying to be all like, let's defend the light skins now or anything. But like when you think about it, I think white people just shouldn't talk or acknowledge race without assistance, because it just reminded me of that whole West Side Story bit about how Irina Moreno was Puerto Rican, and she was a light-skinned Puerto Rican because she's Puerto Rican is French and I think that was French and Spanish people, and so she was light-skinned, and she was made to be the exact same color as the white people. Like she was made up to
the
be
white people that they colored in. They
colored in. They like colored her in,
with the brown face.
That's the thing is, I just think white people shouldn't. It's not that I'm agreeing with anything or against anything. I'm just thinking we shouldn't touch it without assistance. Like we should have someone come in and be like, hey, this sounds bad, but what's a good ratio? Between light and dark, like the darker and the light. Like what's a more realistic look?
Right.
That will actually not exclude anybody from this culture, but also, or race, but also look good on screen,
No,
it's a tough one. It could get tough.
You just have all the darker one that's going to look bad, but if you have all the lighter ones, it's going to look bad in another way. And you just want that nice ratio of realism that looks real. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You want it to look realistic because art imitates life. Yeah,
I got you.
Fuck. I was getting so uncomfy when you guys stay quiet. Like I'm confident and I'm like, I know what I'm saying isn't terrible.
We're like following you. I'm
letting you speak. You gotta get it out and learn to feel comfortable talking about certain subjects. So we stay quiet just to hear you.
You need to not give me some visual.
I was looking at you being like,
I'm not being ignorant.
I'm trying
I would just tell you.
I'm trying to be better, like not jumping on people when they're trying.
Oh,
Claire, I genuinely try to give you your moments to
sound.
speak. No, I genuinely, and I try to do this for Logan too, because especially with me, you could ask my friends in conversations, like people naturally like to like kind of speak over each other and stuff like that. And that happens here sometimes, but I'm like very cognizant of the fact that like, I want to let you speak. You know, you have important things to say. I need to give you your time. So you got caught in a moment just now where I was like, I know that's like, that may not be easy for you. So I'm going to give you even more space. I'm not going to just be like all up in your space being like, Claire, what you about to say? Claire, I don't know what you said.
Like I'm a toddler and you're my dad and you just push me on my bike with no training wheels and there's a truck coming and you're like, I gotta let her. You're on her own. I gotta
believe in you, Claire. Hey, honey, Claire, I know you see that truck. Now, we talked about steering, so you move the fuck out the way. No, she's fine. She's fine, sweetheart.
Yeah. Let's get off of this. All right, so let's talk about Astroworld.
Yeah. So from my understanding of Astroworld, and I did look into this a lot, mainly because I saw it on Twitter and I was like, holy motherfucker, this looks like a lot. And then I just saw all these videos and oh my God, I just thought of something really funny, but I can't talk about that right now. Stay focused. Stay focused.
Yes.
It was just all these videos and stuff and I was like, what's going on? And at first I didn't realize it was as bad as what it was. Like, you know how you sort of just take a deep dive into stuff on the internet and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. So I actually saw Travis's apology first and then I saw the videos and then I saw the responses to the apology and that was a really rough experience. And you know, if he wasn't such a fuckwit, I'd probably feel sorry for him, to be honest, because
he did seem out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, weird for him.
I think he's just so stupid. He didn't realize how serious it was. And like,
Claire, honestly,
that's not an excuse, but that's just where it's at, you know?
That's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think he's so just dumb. Like, I think he's the dumbest motherfucker.
Saw the ambulance, didn't go, hey, stop the show. What's going on over there? Kept
or
performing.
Even just like if you see the ambulance, but fucking the bodies being like anyway. So getting ahead of ourselves. So from my understanding, a human flood happened. Now, a human flood is when a whole bunch of people come in and crash like a wave into people that are in front of them. So like he was on stage, he was all like, ha ha ha, you know, come to the front of the stage, blah blah blah, come catch me or whatever the fuck he said. And all these people crashed forward, which means everybody who was already standing in the front got literally squished and asphyxiated to death.
That's crazy.
Or got trampled, as I was saying to Logan earlier. They, you know, if you tried to make it out and you tripped and you fell on the ground, you know, someone's neck got stepped on, heads got stepped on, brain damage happened, people died. So there's all this stuff happening and he's just going on about his fucking day. He's going on with his song. And then there was this one girl and she jumped up onto the back. You know how they've got the back stages with the cameramen. Mm-hmm. She jumped up there and she was begging him to stop the show and she was screaming that someone was dead. Like someone died in front of her. And the cameraman was basically just like, no, fuck you. You know, get down. If you don't get down, I'll push you. And so she got down and someone else came up and was yelling at him and he was like, you have a walkie-talkie. Please just tell someone to stop the show. You know, get some help in here. People are dying. People can't breathe. We can't breathe. Yeah. And so eventually, I don't know who did, but this is just from my understanding, my opinion of it all. Someone ended up getting onto the outsides and calling in ambulances and stuff and calling in medics. And like there was this one girl who was a nurse. She had a video on, she's got a video online about how she was trying to help her friend. And there was this another guy who was just talking about how people were just dropping dead in front of him. And it was just so scary and that it was his own experience. And there's like this video of Travis seeing ambulances, seeing a body being carried, like crowd surfed out of the crowd because they were dead. Mm-hmm. And he was like, everybody put your middle fingers up to the sky. Like, fuck you, God. Like, it's God's fucking fault. Like, he didn't fucking cause this mass issue.
What?
So he did that. And then there was another time where he was frowning and he was staring at, like he was up on this weird like ledge and he was frowning and he was staring down at these people who were carrying out their friend who'd passed out. And he just started singing this really, like, it was really random. And he just started singing this really melancholy song, like this just really sad song, while staring down into the crowd of all these people. Like, it was just a little bit weird. Like, it just didn't vibe match at all, really.
I see why these conspiracy theorists are coming out about this damn show now.
So is it like...
Yeah.
Jesus.
Is it like...
And then, I'm not done yet, but if you want to
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And
then all these photos surfaced from Kylie Jenner, who was taking photos, and in the photos you can see bodies on the crowd and like people on the ground and people screaming for help. Like, there's this one where there's a face and the person's got red in the face with tears and they're screaming, and she just posted on them on like social media without like not even thinking about it or caring. And she's up on this crowd, on this fucking what is it called, chair, whatever.
Is everybody like not rest in peace to the people involved, but like Travis Scott, is he like high during this whole thing, or like is he lucid?
There were lots of drugs involved. There were drugs in the crowds and stuff, but that just made the medical emergencies a lot more
worse,
intensive and needed. Okay. I'm assuming he was high. Like, I'm assuming because like it was a concert, there was drugs and there was alcohol and there was, it was like a party atmosphere. So, I was watching this review of it this morning actually, and the guy that I was watching was talking about how Linkin Park, was like did this whole bit where he was like, they stopped the show and they were like, if someone falls down, what do you do? And everybody in the crowd yelled, pick them up. If something happens, blah, 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 what do? You pick them up. Like, you help each other. Like, there was like footage of Linkin Park, like situations like that happening at Linkin Park, and Linkin Park stopping the show and being like, hey, motherfuckers, make sure you like incorporating it into the show still. Right. So people get their money's worth. But at the same time,
don't die at our show.
Not letting people just die.
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of, like, there was talks about other performances where people have been like, hey, you're a big fucking guy over there and there's 3 small girls in front of you. Watch your elbows, brother. Like, like, just like them people talking to the crowds and being like, oi, make sure you watch yourself, watch out for each other. Like, so there's been other instances of other rappers, other metal musicians, rock musicians, pop musicians who have dealt with the situation just so much better. Who just dealt with the situation at all. Yeah. Lots of preventive measures, caring about if someone passed out. One person died at this one concert, and the guy was just, I can't remember his name, it was some rock singer. He was so distressed. He was like, can you guys just move back 3 steps? We got to help this guy. We got to help out our brother. You're like, he's our friend. Like, he's one of us. Like, I love you all, blah, blah, blah. And like, he was like helping talk to the crowd so the paramedics and stuff would come in and help this one person who passed away. Where fucking Travis Scott's just standing on a ledge singing some melancholy song or flipping off God. Like, right. He's a fucking moron.
That's why I'm like, was he just like inebriated? Was he like just high out of his mind? Like, because
very possibly.
Like, because like, what the fuck? Like, the whole story is just wild to me. That's why it was very hard for me to follow the story, and then like I just didn't, because I was like, this is just too fucking confusing. Because to me, it felt like, how could all of this happen?
So many rumors.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, there's so many rumors. Like, I think I jumped on the bandwagon pretty early on. It's been talked about for about 3 or 4 days now. And I jumped on the bandwagon pretty early on, so I got a lot of information. But I tried Googling it like this morning when I was watching this review, and there was so much shit about how Travis Scott was like it was like a Satan ritual that was happening, and all this other random crap that was just absolute propaganda. And there was like that whole bit about the drugs and how a police man said he got drugged, but that wasn't actually true. And so if I do, again, with the misspreading of information, if I've missed anything or I haven't said anything that's correct, I apologize, because I've only been going off the facts that I've been given. But what I think the main facts everybody needs to pay attention to is 8 people have died. Several have been sent to hospital and are in critical care. And Travis Scott reacted incredibly inappropriately, and there was nowhere near enough Astroworld didn't have nearly enough resources for such an intense calamity. There was nowhere near enough medic resources. There was nowhere near enough security. There was just not enough. Just not enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there just wasn't any supports. Like, the whole thing was just felt half-assed. There was no help for these people. There was no chance.
They're just taking people's money, basically.
Yeah.
They're just taking people's money, and like you don't really care about
the reviewer
their safety and shit.
Compared it to Fire Festival, where it was so much money.
Oh, that shit
and
show.
Everything was absolute crap.
Right.
Oh god,
there was
that
so much
shit
money,
show.
but there was what you paid. Like, it wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
this is gonna happen
my
again.
Take on the whole thing.
That's kind of what makes me sad about it. It's like this is gonna happen again.
Concert experience, I personally, like I was telling you guys with my jungle experience, like I don't. So the plan is, if you're a show promoter, the fact of the matter is you have a space. People might tell you how much people can fill into that space. There's max occupants of this amount. Now, if you're a showrunner and you can fit more people in, you're most likely going to. Usually spaces like that, the occupancy is fit at the you could squeeze this many people into each other, which is not how an artistic musical experience should be. It's just a hazard to have that many people stuck into a space. You're only fitting that many people in if you have no other choice. So why would you do that for a show? It could lead to a whole bunch of dangerous situations like this, because obviously there's too many people in the space, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened up front. And it's like, there isn't much anybody can do at the end of the day when it's like a whole bunch of people just willy-nilly doing what somebody tells them to do.
Yeah,
security's going to try to get in their way and get trampled themselves unless you start tranquilizing people.
I think a lot of people underestimate how much power it has when the person you're going to go see is talking to you and acknowledging what's happening. I think that really did play a massive part. I think Travis had the power in that room and just was too fucking stupid to take it, because if Travis told the cameraman to stop filming, the cameraman would have dropped his camera in a second. He would not have given a fuck, because who's paying his paycheck?
Right.
Travis, or Astroworld.
Or Travis people or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? He had all the power and he did nothing. And that's something that I think, as much as we do need to look at concert venues and make sure that they are secure and they're not overreaching max capacity and we're not being money grubby little fucks, Astroworld, we also need to look at the person who's performing.
You could have instantly
We need to look at the whole
that.
picture, because every single thing about that picture made for what happened that night happen. Travis being a fuckwit. Astroworld not having nearly enough security, not near having any gates up. There were no fucking gates. There were no not nearly enough medics. There was just no order, no security, no procedures put in place, no nothing. There was just nothing that supported a venue of people that that amount of people,
Right.
Yeah.
And because of that, people died.
And Travis could have stopped it all. He could have just been like, hey, if he had saw it and had, some wherewithal, could have been like, hey, yo, everybody listen up. Yo, I need everybody just relax real quick. Just relax, just stop. Literally just like that while playing with the crowd and split it
apart. But allegedly, he's the one that incited a lot of it, because even I saw videos at the beginning of the concert just letting the people in.
Come here, come catch me, come to the front.
They were just storming the security kiosks to get into the concert. They're just flooding through, and they're knocking down the metal
that was
detectors
at the beginning
and stuff.
Of it.
Yeah, just
it was fucked from the beginning.
Yeah, it was just bad energy right from the get-go. You know what I mean? So sorry guys, I have a cold right now. That's all right. Oh, God. I sound like one of those pigs on Angry Birds or some shit. Anyways.
Thanks.
Let's move on. Rest in peace to those people though, and
100%.
I'm thinking about their families, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, respect
your
to them
daughter,
too.
son not coming home that day.
Over bullshit. Fun. Just over bullshit.
There was some egotistical fuck.
What the hell, Mitch?
That wasn't
me.
Oh.
Sorry, that was me.
I knew it was Mitch. I knew who it was.
Yeah.
For some reason, I could tell.
You didn't know.
Anyways, wow. Let's move on. And then let's do one last one, and then we'll get out of here. Unless you guys don't want to. I don't know.
I'm a bit tired, and it's like almost 2:00.
You want to wrap?
Yeah, we should save some topics we have for probably later next week.
Okay. All right. Let me write this down.
I got to be able to think of more topics, though. I've been like brain dead lately.
Me too. Me too. No, me too. But also because of what Claire was saying earlier, and we'll talk about it after the show. Anyways, let's get out of here. Mitch, did you have anything you want to say to the people?
Do I? Well, no, not much. Just if you're in a dark space, I also kind of agree with Claire. Like, you can't necessarily run from yourself. Like, you can find ways to cope, but eventually you do have to face your demons if you really want to like begin the process of healing. Travis Scott, you could have stopped that incident from happening. Artists everywhere, like, pay attention. We really should be the ones paying attention and doing something. We can prevent all that happening. And now, what I specifically liked today was in terms of talking about, characters in fiction and stuff like that, especially the little bit we had on colorism. Like, if this person's from another planet, they can be black. They can be Asian. They can be anything you want them to. They don't always have to be pale-faced. Keep it in mind. Mitch out.
Just keep it in mind.
Keep it in mind, please, especially at this day and age.
Just think about it.
Because I can't take back the past, you racist sons of bitches.
Just stop and think to yourself, do I need to do that? Is this necessary? Anywho.
Claire, did you have anything you wanted to leave the people with?
Yeah. Fuck y'all for fucking up my homegirl Hanada. I can't believe y'all are so thirsty that you do that to her. You do her so dirty, like she's not an autonomous being. Like, fuck you. Well, she's not an autonomous being, but you know what I'm saying. You know why I'm mad. You know why I'm mad. Fuck you. What else was I going to say? Rest in peace to everybody that lives were lost at friggin' Travis fuckhead Scott's fucking thing. I hope you are being well taken care of, the families and everything. And what else? I am always so frazzled when it comes to these things. I don't know. I think it's because I spent like 2 hours talking about really intense topics and then I have to say more stuff. And I'm like, what? I hope everyone's taking care of themselves, taking your medication, drinking your water, getting some sun. Oh, wait. Australians, hope you're getting some suns. Americans, you're staying warm. I'm not sure what Europeans doing. I think you all are up top, so you're also staying warm. Some Asians are staying warm. Some Asians are getting some sun. Just doing some casual geography on the pod.
Yes. Yes. Keep it going. I like it.
Happy birthday to my mama. It's her birthday today.
Oh, wow.
You didn't mention that until now, Claire?
Well, it wasn't a main point of the show. I just wanted to give her a shout out because Logan's mom got a shout out.
No, you're
That's
right.
why I'm saying, how are you mentioning it just now? Happy birthday to her.
Logan's face was like, I don't know, it's all right. My mom's better.
Bring my mom about it.
I'm not going to touch on that subject with both of your mothers, but happy birthday to your mother.
It's weird because
only me and Logan are ballsy enough to attack each other's mothers.
I don't know.
Y'all play with that and do what y'all want to do. I'm gonna stay over here not doing that. I think I feel way more comfortable just not doing that.
That is
may they all rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? That's all there is.
It's how you cope.
But everyone, I hope you have a good week.
I laugh too. I just laugh over here.
And come at me if you have any issues with any misinformation I spread, because I am genuinely trying to be a better person all the time. I know I'm a terrible person, but I do genuinely try every day to be better. So if you would like to assist in that journey, feel free to email at themilkandtoast
at gmail.com.
Have a good week.
What do I have for you guys? Listen, a final rest in peace to the people who lost their lives at Astroworld, of course. I know we said it like 3 times, but like...
It's just so sad.
It is. It's really just... I hate when people die unnecessarily. Yes, thank you, Claire. It's just so unnecessary for people to have to die that way.
At a place where they're supposed to be enjoying themselves the most.
And it's negligent. It's just negligence. I would like to say, stop following all the conspiracy bullshit about it, though. Like, stop that. Don't do that.
That's a good point.
Like, I had watched this one girl on Instagram or whatever, and her like specialty is being like anti-conspiracies. Like, she does like anti-conspiracies or whatever, which, you know, is like right up my alley because I hate conspiracies. But she was like saying that, like, you know, she was talking about like how everybody had the conspiracies about Astroworld and everything, and she was saying that, you know, one of our things that we like to do is we like to talk about conspiracies about like major tragic events because they're the easy solution. Like, they're the easy explanation of why something horrible would happen. Like, if we can blame like this horrible thing on like and simplify it to like this good versus evil thing, our minds can wrap around that a lot easier than like somebody just didn't fucking care about us and then that's why we died. You know, like your loved one died because like somebody just didn't give a shit is like so complicated to us in a negative way instead of just like, oh, well, your loved one died because Hillary Clinton eats babies. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's that different. You know what I mean?
I don't trust them Clintons, though.
I get it.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, I'm not trying even to be mean about it this time. Is like, don't follow the conspiracy theories just because, like, it's kind of disrespectful to the people who lost their lives because they didn't lose their life over like conspiracy bullshit. They lost their life because like people didn't care. And so like when we go down that rabbit hole, it's like we're giving up that care too. We're becoming negligent and we become the people who don't prevent it from happening later because instead of looking at the real reasons why these people died, we don't try to prevent it later because you can't prevent like major like satanic rituals from happening, right? You can't prevent like major conspiracy bullshit shit from happening. That's what I'm saying, Mitch. Okay. Is that like you can't prevent like these bullshit answers to these things from happening because that's why we invest so much in them because they're like these giant Lex Lutherian type of ideas, right? But you can prevent like negligence from happening. You can prevent like these things from happening. You can like vote for people and like, you know, picket and like go out there into the street and like really be angry about this shit and it really be like impactful and helpful. Like that's why I always hate conspiracies is because they like make us feel smaller than we actually are. But yeah, that's why, because you do have the power to do stuff, and that's what I really want to leave us with is that we have the power to change things. You know, don't believe all the conspiracy bullshit that just makes it look bigger than it is and doesn't give us any option to really change anything. You know what I mean? If you like the show, as always, share the show, like the show, and subscribe to the show on YouTube. I can't stress that enough because what we're going to do is we're going to start talking to you guys directly and like really watching the show with you on YouTube. And my two co-hosts look so stressed about it, but guys, it's really not going to be a stressful event. It's really going to be a fun thing. That's what I really wanted to be. I wanted it to be a mellow, fun thing where like we can laugh together about the show. We can like talk about how dumb we sound or how smart we sound about the show, you know? And like really get y'all's opinions about some of the stuff in real time. Like it'll be great. It'll be a fun time.
When I'm seeing on camera, Claire, it's as other people.
But yeah, that'll be happening in the coming weeks. Basically, we'll be doing live streams on YouTube, and that's just gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun time. So don't miss out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Same name, the Milk and Toast
as usual.
YouTube. Yep, as usual. We're the Milk and Toast everything. The brand is strong. Fuck y'all. Anyways, say bye to the people, Mitch.
Bye.
Say bye to the people, Claire.
Goodbye, guys. Mitchell hurt my ears. Sorry if you hurt yours too.
I'm your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast, episode 29. And we out. Bye.